Hello friends and welcome to my channel, Heidi Sample DIY. I'm so grateful you popped in to say hi and to watch this video. In today's episode I have some really cute things to share using Dollar Tree supplies. I love using Dollar Tree supplies because they keep us on budget. We are going to be making 10 bunny spring projects. Alright, now let's get crafting. This project is going to be so fast, so cute, and have such fun color to it. We're going to be using this wood round, this bunny hang-up sign, and then a craft stick dowel. Go ahead and take your bunny apart from that twine that was on the back of it and remove all those staples. Once you get those all removed, go ahead and take a drill a little bit of a bigger hole where that hole already existed from that twine, and then just put that craft wood stick right down in there. That's honestly the most complicated thing about this project. We're not going to be using any other power tools. It just needed for that one thing. Now we're going to go ahead and glue on our bunny at the top of the stick, but we're going to bring back in this really cute hippity hoppity on it as well. So go ahead and glue those on. Use some fabric to help lock it into place and clean up the backside. I added a little bit of hot glue at the bottom of that wood base, and then I put on some of my Spanish moss. And now I'm just simply taking some of those Dollar Tree carrots that I just love this season. They're so much fun to work with. I'm cutting off the tip so that there are 3 different heights, and I'm just kind of twisting them down in there when I get some hot glue in that spot, and you've got yourself an adorable decor piece. For this craft, we are going to be using one of these bunny Easter signs. We're going to be using one of these signs from the fall season, but honestly they sell these all year long with just different holidays on the front covers of these little box signs, some florals, and one of these tiles that you can pick up in their home improvement section in the Dollar Tree store. So we're going to take our bunny and we are going to cut the particle board with the little arms. We're going to cut those parts off so it's rounded, and then we're also going to take off the twine and the tag, and we're going to be covering this bunny with this textured tile. So how we're going to get that process done, we're going to lay the bunny on top of that tile. It's a little bumpy while you're tracing, so just take your time going over it, making sure you get your line nice and defined. I'm using a Sharpie marker because I'm eventually going to be painting this anyway. I'm also going to be cutting inside of the line versus directly on that black line, because you can see when you're tracing it, it has a little bit of a wider trace on it. It'll be hanging over a little too much. So cut inside the black line, and then when you go to pull off that plastic, you're going to realize that the adhesive sheet they had on the back is actually bound to the edges of the tile, so that whole piece is going to come off, and that's actually okay. I found that it worked out even better that way. So I made sure my hot glue was really hot, and then I went ahead and made a quick line all the way around the bunny so that the glue doesn't dry. Make sure your hot glue is really, really hot so that it can go all the distance without it cooling off. Then we're going to come back in and line up that tile on the bunny the best we can with the remainder of that piece that we have left over, and cut off the bottom rounded part, add some hot glue, and then combined it right where that joint is, and this is going to make it look pretty seamless. It gets pretty close. I love the texture of these tiles, and there's such a possibility with these, and they're only $1.25. So if you find them in your store, definitely pick them up. Now I'm going to cover mine with a nice crisp white, but you honestly could do whatever color you want for your bunny and your theme that you're doing for your Easter season, spring season. Now you can use a heat gun on it, but just be mindful that you're working with plastic still because of that tile, so keep it moving quick. And then on the back side of your bunny, make sure you tidy it up with some paint, or if you get a second tile, you can do the tiles on the back. That could be kind of pretty too, especially if you're putting this on a table for a display for a dinner, or just, I don't know, you want to be able to see both sides. You could do the tile in the back and add a little cotton bunny tail. That could be so cute too. So now we're going to add some texture and bring these tiles to life. I used a little bit of black paint with more brown, mixed it together, and now I'm dry brushing. You can see that I used a towel there, paper towel, to get off the majority of the paint because we only want to basically scrape across the surface of the raised tile texture so that we pick up that look. And now it has this vintage looking farmhouse tiles. I just think it turned out so pretty. Now we're going to take our bunny and we are going to glue it into our box. This box is going to allow our bunny to stand up anywhere we want to display it. And we're going to take some of these foam squares from the Dollar Tree. We're going to pop those in with some hot glue and as well as some of this Spanish moss. This is going to conceal that foam and really clean it up and make it look like it's store-bought. Now pick the florals you want. I'm going to be using a lot of lavender, white, and a very soft pink throughout my whole spring season. So I am using these colors, but you can use whatever colors you want. You could go with a really pretty crisp white and pinks or yellows and basically make a little garden for your bunny box. And the last is just simply take a twine bow or whatever bow you want to use and pop that right on your bunny. Our supplies for this project are going to be a 20-inch wreath form, 8 to 9 ropes, depending on how long your ropes are, from the Dollar Tree, and then one of these 3D wreath forms. We're taking the second ring from the outer form. We are going to take that ring and right at the joint, bend it where it pops right in half, and then go across to the other side and cut right there. Now you're going to notice there are little circles on the middle of these arches now. That's where the 3D wreath form all comes together with one little metal rod. We're going to bend it right at that point to create the bunny ears. Start by bending the first one towards you and then the second one away from you. And you can see that I've already pinched it into place of the bunny ears. So one is going to come towards you and one's going to come away from you. That's going to allow you to be able to lock those two into place so it stays in that shape of a bunny ear. Now we're going to come in through the first and second ring, right where you see that connecting joint, and we're going to hook those ears back together. Now using 3 zip ties, you're going to zip it right in the middle, and then you're going to come onto the side of the ear and the first ring, zip tie that one, and then go over to the other side of the ear, zip tying the other side to that first ring. This is going to strengthen the ears really, really strong, and it's not going to go anywhere for your bunny ears. Once you've got those all zip tied in, go ahead and take your scissors and just simply cut off those long zip ties. You don't want those in the way, they're just kind of messy. And then after you've got all of that nice and secure, you're now going to move on to your rope. Take your rope, hot glue the rope on, and we're going to start at the ear. So you're going to just keep twisting around your wire in your ear as tightly as you can. You want this to be nice and snug. And I kept adding some glue about every 3 or 4 times I wrapped it around because we don't want to see the wire and we want to keep the rope being consistent in its tightness. So when you get to the top of the ear, you're going to add some glue and then come back down the other side. Once you've gotten down the other side of the bunny ear, come down onto that 20-inch wreath form and then just keep wrapping around. You're going to notice, because the wreath is round, that the rope sometimes wants to be looser on the outer part of the wreath form. So just make sure you double back into those spots where it might need a little bit of extra rope and then just keep going forward after that. Use hot glue as needed to secure the rope in its place that you want it. Make your way all the way around the wreath until you get to your finishing point and cut off the rope. Again, I used about 8 or 9 rope packages from the Dollar Tree to complete the full way around the bunny. Now at this point, we're going to go on to the ears. I am taking some hot glue. I went around with a nice straight line on the back of the ear. I'm smoothing on some white burlap, And then once it's all patted down, massaged into the glue, I'm going to come in with my scissors and cut right along the line where that hot glue is, so it's a nice clean look. I think it looks so adorable having the white burlap be inside the bunny's ears. I decided to add a couple of fern leaves onto my bunny's ears. I thought this would be so pretty and add a little bit of that spring touch. And now I'm going to start adding on my bows. You can add on whatever kind of bow you want to add on. I'm going to be going with a sage green and a peach look to this bunny wreath. The first one was a double loop bow, and now I'm going to show you how to make a really simple traditional bow that looks really full. So you can see here I've got about 12-13 inches length in a ribbon. I glued it into the center, pinched it into the middle, and now I'm going to take another piece. I'm going to fold and tuck over the sides, glue it down just a little bit to hold it into place. Nothing too crazy with that glue. And then now I'm going to take that, put that into the center of that loop bow that we made earlier. We pinched it right in the middle, and now we're going to just simply glue that and wrap that around into place. Tuck in that end where the back side of this bow is going to be and glue that down. This is the easiest way to make a perfect looking bow. Now to add on the tails, you're just going to take some extra ribbon, get it to the length that you want, add in your glue, add on your bow. Isn't that the easiest way to make a bow? There's a lot of times people struggle with patterns on ribbon. This is the quickest way to do it. If you have a pattern on a ribbon, or you're just not in general really good at tying bows, and we all have our different skills. Don't ever feel bad if you can't figure out how to do it. It just takes practice, and just keep trying until you get it to the way you like it. And then in the end, all I'm going to do is add on this pretty poppy peach flower. The very last step is to simply add on a piece of rope on the back to be able to hang it up, and you've got yourself the most charming, beautiful bunny wreath for your front door. I love an oval frame, and when I saw this one, especially at half off, I snatched it right away because it reminds me of the frames that you can get on Main Street at Disneyland. You know, where you have your silhouettes cut out and they put them in these frames. So I picked it up because I had a cute idea I wanted to try for Easter. Start by taking off all the screws and the backings of the frame, and we're going to take it outside and give it a coat of flat white spray paint. Once it's all dry, bring it inside the house, and I'm going to do a very light dry brushing because I do want it primarily to show the white, not too distressed on this one. I'm going to just lightly go over it to bring out that really beautiful leaf detail on the side of the oval frame. Once that's all done, I'm going to pull out my scrapbook paper, and you can use any scrapbook paper you would like. This collection of scrapbook paper is from My Mind's Eye. I got it a while ago. I know some people have still been able to find it, but it is a past collection. But they have beautiful bundles of scrapbook paper at Joann's, and you can use lots of coupons there. So once you find a pattern paper that you like for a frame like this, you are going to make sure you rip it out. Take your time ripping it out so it doesn't rip funny. I always like to pull from the top corner, and then I just keep pulling down until it completely releases from the adhesive band on the side. And then I'm going to just simply trace around my frame that I had as the backing piece, and then we're going to simply cut it out. Now I like to do it this way just because trying to freehand cut this just takes way too long. Tracing it is so much easier. And because I don't really care too much about those little nubs at the top of that frame piece, I'm just going to cut those off because you're not even going to see it. Add some adhesive to it, and then go ahead and add on the paper and rub it down nice and smooth. You want to make sure it's really bond well to this backing piece because we're going to glue on the bunny, and the bunny's going to have some weight to it, which can pull the paper away from that backing piece. So once you've got it all adhesived on, go ahead and put it all back together, add back in your screws, and add on a darling bunny from the Dollar Tree, and you have got yourself the most beautiful high-end looking frame for Easter. We're going to start with using this bunny from the Dollar Plus section at the Dollar Tree, this plastic bowl from the Dollar Normal sections, and then a foam square with some greenery. My greenery came from Hobby Lobby. I'm using this pick with these leaves you see here, as well as a boxwood garland that I'm going to be cutting up, and I just cut up that all the time. I save tons of money doing it that way. Start by cutting down your foam square to fit around the bunny in this oval bowl. We are going to be gluing all of these foam pieces in there so that we can embellish around the bottom of the bunny. Now the bunny itself is totally cute and you can just put that on a table, but I want you to see that you can take a cute decor piece and make it even better by adding a little garden underneath it. So to conceal that foam, I'm going to cover it up with some Spanish moss. You can see that I poked some holes into that foam. The reason why I did that was because the boxwood pieces from the garland do not have wire in them, and it makes it easier to glue those down into the foam so they're all nice and secure. But the one with the leaf, that one has wire in it. So just, you know, when you're working with your florals, work with that accommodation so that you can make sure everything's glued in nice and secure and things aren't falling apart. Once you've got your little garden bunny bed, you're going to go ahead and take some of these eggs from the Dollar Tree, a shish kebab stick, and I just broke it down to size so it goes up into the egg, and then that way I can use this to stake into the foam. That's going to make sure these are in there nice and secure without them popping off, because honestly hot glue is not going to hold these eggs on very well. Now one thing I decided to go back and do was to paint the bowl white. I wish I had done this first, but sometimes I do things out of order as I'm working on things. I noticed that I think it would look better if I do this, and so I still just added it in after all. After that, you've got a finished adorable garden bunny bed. For this DIY, I'm going to be using this beautiful Happy Easter Cottontails Farm Fresh egg sign. I'm going to be using some ribbon, this large 18-inch wreath form, and then a whole bunch of different florals. Most everything is from the Dollar Tree except for the really large peonies. I got that at the end of a Christmas sale. They have a little bit of frost to it on the floral, but you don't really even notice it when you bring it all together, and I got a killer deal for them, so we're going to use those two on this project. We're going to start by taking this burlap lace ribbon that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just simply wrap it all the way around the whole wreath form. I like doing this because it makes it so much easier gluing your florals on, because you're not going to struggle with these holes and them falling through or having to zip tie anything. So I'm just going to coil that all the way around. It's not going to be able to reach all the way perfectly around. It gets real close, but we're going to cover that up with a bunch of stuff so you won't even notice it. Now I'm going to take my sign and I'm going to put the zip ties on the bottom side of the sign, and I'm going to zip that right onto that wreath form, and I am going to just make sure I get both of them in place before I zip tie one side too tight, because then it makes it hard to get the other one on. So just get it in place and then start to pull it tighter and then snip. And I push those little square pieces back down underneath so you don't have to see those. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a bow. Now you can see this is the easiest way to make a very big loopy bow. I'm zigzagging back and forth 4 times. I make sure that there's a tail on each end going the opposite direction, and then I take it and I'm going to just gather it right in the middle and tie it around in a knot. That's it. There are so many people who use all these different tools to make bows, and you really could do that if you want to, but this works the same. I'm not kidding. Like, you're going to see in the end, I'm going to have this beautiful bow on here, and it was just me zigzagging back and forth with some ribbon. So if you're not great at tying ribbons, give this a try. Like, this is a really easy one to do. And then I'm going to just pull a zip tie through it, and I'm going to put that around my form itself, and I'm going to use that to be able to zip tie on there so that I don't have to worry about hot gluing it on and making a mess with all that hot glue. And I'm just going to get it in position and then tighten it. Isn't that just the easiest bow ever? So once you've got your bow on, go ahead and fluff it out, and look, all we did was zigzag back and forth and tie a knot. Isn't that just the easiest bow ever? And if you want to make more loops, you just, you know, keep zigzagging, or you can double up bows. That works as well. Now I'm really slowing down this wreath process because sometimes I go a little fast with these, and I know that there's a lot of beginning crafters who are looking for some spring inspiration. So I'm going to show you at this point how I build my florals. I get a lot of questions how I come up with my color combos. I really wanted to bring out all of those beautiful spring colors, especially on a front door. I just think that's a place where you really could put a lot of color. So I'm doing a softer peony pink flower. Then I'm coming in with a darker pink peony flower, almost like salmon pink color. And now I'm coming in with some tiny little daisies. I think that these are so beautiful. They bring in that yellow and that white. And at this point now I want to definitely bring in some more yellow. So I've got these smaller flowers. I think this is supposed to try to be like a ranunculus. Honestly, I think like the way that it looks, I think that's what they were going for at the Dollar Tree. And now I'm going to come in with some of this Salvia delphinium. I'm not sure what this flower exactly is supposed to be, but it has that same long look to it. So I'm going to just glue in a couple of those. And now to bring in a little more pop of color, and since there's a bunny on this, I thought it would be so pretty to work in some really bright orange carrots. And then I'm going to come in with some ferns and some of these little mini roses. Friends, I wanted to show you in this video how much fun it is to layer and layer and layer. And that's what makes a gorgeous wreath. When you see wreaths at stores that cost like $200 or something crazy like that, it's because they're super layered and have all these different colors and florals. And you can get that look with things from the Dollar Tree. So on those ribbons, I came around the backside and I just kind of zigzagged that ribbon down, longer on one side, shorter on the other. And now I'm going to do that same loopy technique that I did earlier for my ribbon. And I'm going to do that with some orange gingham ribbon. Now I'm going to come in with a button because I just love buttons. I mean, have I not been doing that in quite a few videos lately? You can skip over the button if it's not your thing. But I'm going to add on a button, and then I'm going to add on a little bit of twine right in the middle of that. And all of these together just, they make me so happy. I hope you give these techniques a try. I really do. On the backside, don't forget to add on your rope. And I always like to unfray the edges just a little bit to give it some more of that locked in security. And then to clean it up, I like to take some fabric, glue it over the top of it, and then I just trim around it to make it look really clean and high-end finished. Up next, we're going to be using this bunny sign from the Dollar Tree, these eggs, and then as well as the gingham ribbon. I'm going to be using out of the eggs, the teal eggs, the white eggs, and the purple eggs, just so I kind of go with the color theme to match the ribbon. Once you've got those all out and unpackaged, go ahead and take your bunny, flip it over, and take off the carrots and the staples. Now I'm planning on using those carrots for another DIY on another day, so I'm just going to put them to the side and hold on to those. And then for the bunny at the top of his ears, we're going to go ahead and take off that as well. On the back side of most of these, they have this little, almost like an aglet, like the end of a shoelace. You just pop it out and it comes off really easy without having to cut it, and that's something you can save too for crafting. So now is probably the trickiest part, but honestly, this is so easy. I'm going very slow with my drill because I don't want it to slip and hit my fingers. And I just take my time drilling a hole on one side of each of the eggs. The other side of the egg already has a hole. So now I'm going to take my ribbon at the end. I fold the ribbon in half and I'm going to do a little slip knot. Right here you can see I just went around, pulled it through, and tightened it. And then on the other end, to be able to thread everything through quicker without struggling with the ribbon, I'm going to take a piece of wire. I'm going to glue the very tip of that ribbon to the wire. So this is going to now serve as a long needle to be able to thread the eggs through and the beads. Just make sure the wire is not too thick that things can't get through. So once you've got your ribbon nestled onto the wire, this is going to make it so much easier to thread everything on. I like using this trick a lot when I'm working with ribbon, just because it makes it so much faster. So you can see here that I slipped on the first bead, and I'm going to come all the way down to the end, and we're going to clean up this end where our little loop is. This is what you would use to hang up this garland we're making on the wall. So just go ahead and cut off that extra flap from tying that knot. I'm going to add some glue, and then I'm going to pull the bead down, and this is going to give it a store finished look. This is the kind of stuff that really makes a difference in your crafts. So what I did was I did a bead, an egg, a bead, a knot, then I did a space for about 3 fingers, and then I did another knot, came back on with another bead, then an egg, then a bead, then a knot, then a space, then a knot, then a bead, then an egg, then a bead, then a knot. And I repeated this all the way down. You'll see in the very end the finished pattern of what I did. But the fun thing about garlands is that you can do whatever you want with them and just have so much fun. And they make the cutest decorations in a home. So at this point you can see I'm trying to decide what to do between the bunny ears. And at first I put all these extra beads in this egg, and I kept sitting on it, and I just wasn't sure about it yet. I actually went and hung it up, and then I decided, no, I don't like the way that that looks. I really want the bunny's ears to be shown better than what it looked with this egg as distraction in between it. So I went ahead and cut the middle, pulled the egg off, did these knots, and then I went ahead, pulled off the beads, and on the back side, I glued down those ribbons. And I liked this so much more because I felt like it really showed the bunny ears better. But you can see the pattern right here, what I was talking about earlier, and how I tied all these. And I just loved it because it shows the ribbon, the beads, and the eggs. And then the bunny has the spotlight right center in the middle of your garland. It'll look so cute on a shelf or on a wall, wherever you decide to hang it up. Up next, I'm going to be taking one of these bags from the Dollar Tree. You can get 2 for $1 or $1.25 now. I'm going to remove the handles, and there's a piece of paper that's in front of it, so pull that off first and then pop off the handles. Now you don't want to rip the actual bag, you're just removing the handles, because what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into the cutest bunny bag. Now you can see here, this is what it looks like on the inside. And I want you all to see that crafting doesn't always have to be so complicated. Even making a darling little gift bag like this is something so sweet and simple to do, and it's crafting. So if you're new to crafting, don't feel overwhelmed by getting tons of power tools. Start with something cute and simple, like taking a simple bag like this and just drawing a little bunny face on it, adding some cute little bunny ears. Oh, I just think these are so cute to hand out for this coming Easter and spring. So once you've got your face drawn on, you're then going to take those handles, and we're not going to put them back in the center how they originally were. We're going to only glue them to the back side of the bag, and we're going to off-center them so we can put 2 so it makes it look like ears. Once you've got those glued in there, take a piece of that scrap that you ripped off earlier, glue that back in there, and you could cover that up with a little bit cuter paper, like scrapbook paper, but I'm just going to repurpose what was there just so you can see that you can seriously do this for pennies. Once you're all done, put some cute little gifts inside and some tissues and hand this out with a big wow factor. We're going to start with using 2 of these larger wreath forms and 1 of these smaller wreath forms. You can see it's smaller because it fits inside these larger ones. And if you don't know, I just saw this pop up on their website. They are actually going to be selling these bunny wreath forms. If you can get your hands on them, awesome. They're $5. If not, we're going to make one for about the same price, maybe even $1 or $2 less, because each one of these wreath forms are about $1.25. So let's just say $4 we're going to build this bunny. But if you can get your hands on the other one, awesome. So we're going to start with taking one of these larger wreath forms, and we are going to cut it with some of my wire cutters so that we can take it apart and create the ears. I love cutting apart things like this because it's amazing what you can make with just normal everyday items. So we're going to cut some of those branches from the wreath down to size. I ended up having about 6, we'll say 7 inches long is what I was working with, and then I cut it down as I needed it. Gather them together. You want to keep some long at the end, but make sure the top is all gathered at the same length. And then I'm going to use just some of these clips from the Dollar Tree to gather them together so I can glue that top part together. Right now we're forming one side of the bunny ear, and we're going to do this 4 times so that we can bring 2 of them together 2 times to create 2 ears. So you can see here that after I've got them all glued, hot glue's dried, and a good thing is that it dries clear. We're going to go ahead and now bring those tips together, gluing them nice and strong, and we're going to conceal the glue with a bead garland in a minute, and it'll look so pretty when it's done. So now once the tops are dry, I'm going to take a zip tie, and I decided to use the zip tie because I wanted to keep that shape of the bunny ear, and this is the best way to hold all of the wood together without it breaking. Once you've got it in place and the bunny ears are the same length, snip off all the extra, but you do want to keep a couple of these extra pieces long at the end so we can weave that into the wreath. This is going to make your bunny ears extra strong and sturdy. So you can see I've got these longer pieces, and I'm just weaving them down in there. And then once you've got it in a nice snug position, go ahead and take some hot glue and go down into those cracks and crevices and add in that hot glue. This is going to make the bunny ears super strong and sturdy, and they're not going to come off. And you can see here that the glue is not super noticeable, but if you want to conceal it, which I did, I took some of this beaded garland, and I just think it adds such a pretty spring texture to it. I wrapped it all over my bunny and just making sure that I was concealing some of the hot glue. But again, from somebody on the street, if you're hanging this on the front door, no one's ever going to notice that hot glue. You can honestly put whatever you want on it to conceal it. Now we're going to bring the head onto the body form. I did 1 large zip tie first around the 2 wreaths, and now I'm taking 2 more and I'm weaving them through to make it stronger on the front. Then we're going to flip it over and then do 2 more on the back. So that way you have 5 zip ties all together. This is going to make it really strong. The bunny head's not going to come off or be all wiggly. So the tighter you get these zip ties, the better, and then just cut them off. Last, we're going to come in with some more of that bead garland to match the top, and now we can start decorating the neck of the bunny. I made this double loop bow. I'm gluing that on first, and then I'm going to come in with this gingham ribbon that I picked up. The gingham ribbon, that's this minty green color. I picked that up from Michael's years ago, but you can use tons of ribbon that they have at the Dollar Tree. The mint burlap ribbon is from the Dollar Tree. So I used this gingham ribbon. Now I'm going around the 2 wreaths, tying a knot to secure it all into place, and then tying a traditional bow, cutting it off, and then just zhuzhing with it until I get it the way I want it to look. I love the look of a lot of layered bows, especially that's super trendy right now on wreaths, to add a lot of different layer bows, some that are longer and flowy in the wind, some that are sheer. Just keep playing with all your bows until you get it to the way you want. I'm using a lot of mint and soft bubblegum pink. And I also added a twine bow right in the middle. I just love that loopy look. On the back, to make your ribbons look flowier and not to make it too bulky on the front, I'm just doing a line of glue and adding on a couple more ribbons. These are going to hang down even longer than the wreath so they can blow in the wind. Now I'm going to come in with some florals. I'm using this poppy floral, and then I'm adding in some large green leaves, some of this lavender. We're going to go with a light and a dark lavender. And then what is spring without a couple of daisies? I love daisies on my projects, on my wreaths at the springtime. I just think that they're so beautiful. And then at the very end, once you've got all of your florals on there the way you want them, Friends, this is the most whimsical wreath, and we made the whole thing right around $10, which is outrageously cheaper than what they sell these for in stores. I am going to be using this $5 plus item from the Dollar Tree. This is so awesome because I was actually getting ready to DIY something, and then I found this one, 2 of the packs of the carrots, and then some burlap. We are going to take off that carrot on the front and put it to the side because we can use it for a DIY on another day. And then this bow, oddly enough, this thing was stapled on and ready for a war to break out. I mean, this thing was so sturdy on here that I couldn't pull it off, so I actually just had to cut it off. And then we're going to take some burlap. I always like to double up my burlap so you don't see through it. And we are going to glue around 3 of the sides and lay it down to create a pocket on the front of the bunny. Now, a couple years back, there were a couple of different home decor stores that had this exact look where the bunny has a little pocket on the front of it and it's got some carrots and some cute things in it. And those decor online shops were charging a ton of money. We're talking over $100 for that front door decor piece, which is crazy. And we're gonna make ours for right around $10 and save ourselves a ton of money. So once you've got your pocket glued on, and make sure you leave enough room to be able to actually tuck the carrots in. You don't wanna glue it down where it's super flat. You're gonna just come in with your carrots, stack them in there where you want them to be. And then on the front, where that little flat part is to help the bunny stand up, I glued 3 carrots there as well. Now I want to beef up that greenery a little bit because I think it just makes it look more fuller, high end. That's really when things start to go from being a Dollar Tree product to looking more high end when you fill it in, make it look fuller. And then where that bow was we cut off earlier, I'm going to come in with a beautiful big tan bow, and this was from the Dollar Tree as well, this ribbon, as well as a lacy bow, which is also from the Dollar Tree. And then to add a little extra personality, we're going to put a green button, which I picked these buttons up at their front checkout area. They always have little buttons up there. I love using buttons in my crafting. Leave a comment down below to let me know if you like using buttons like I do, because I put them on a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that button into place. And then what would this cute little bunny be without a little farm sign of some kind to say how much his carrots are that he's willing to sell to you at his little farmer's market stand? So we're going to just add a little 25-cent tag, and I get these little tags in their floral section and sometimes their garden section around springtime. You get, I think, 4 or 5 of them in a pack for $1.25. So I just went ahead and painted that on there, 25 cents for his carrots, and we're going to sneak that down inside, and we saved ourselves at least $90 DIYing it ourselves. Crafting is so near and dear to my heart, and I know it probably is for you as well if you clicked on this video. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed these projects today. It really does help out my channel. And don't forget that I'm over on Instagram underneath the account name Heidi Somble. Now I'm going to recommend this video right here. If you enjoyed this one, you will probably enjoy this video as well. Thanks so much for stopping in, and until the next episode, bye friends.